Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Sigvald here and welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to talk about artifact bonuses. Artifact bonuses are something that was introduced more or less 8 months ago in Injustice 2 Mobile, as far as I remember, and were something that I was actually very excited about. Because you had access to stats we've never seen before, like lethal attack damage, more dot damage, specific ability damage, power generation, resistances with one roll maxed out. It honestly looked amazing. And now 8 months since the release, it's a system that most likely less than 10% of the player base is using. And I personally have gotten more out of it frustration than fun. It has a few problems that we need to address, and those are going to be one, that there's only 2 good bonuses. That's the first thing. It's only 2 good bonuses. It might look like there's a lot of options with that, but the only things that you're looking for to get are going to be lethal attack damage and additional dot damage. Attack values are simply too low to matter in soul rates that much, and the damage calculations for the specials type of thing, special increased damage, like more damage on third special or stuff like that, are simply very badly calculated and are not gonna be worth getting. Now, of course, I would love to experiment with stuff like resistances on artifacts or power generation on artifacts, but the problem is I'm most likely never gonna do that because I can barely afford to attempt from time to time to change the artifacts that I use on damage dealers. There's just very, very few reforges, and that's where we're going to get into now. Artifact reforges are almost nowhere to be found. Green ones are going to be a higher chance to apply epic rarity, and that's what you're looking for, and are exclusively pay to win. For the most part, I think we got one free one with the anniversary pass, if I'm not wrong. And by the way, it's not a great experience either. Imagine spending real money, spending like $100, getting 50 green reforges, and wasting all of them without getting the desired bonus. Never happened to me. But there's also the normal ones, the brown ones. The color is quite accurate because they are kind of shit, and it's pretty much the odds of getting an epic talent, let's say a little bit higher, to get a good stuff with the brown ones. And they're going to be more or less chest exclusive, and you're going to have a buy a chest with meager amounts of those reforges mixed up with all these soul rate artifact materials, which cost 500 gems. In terms of gems investment, that chest is not going to be a good chest. It falls on the category of necessary chests that you might eventually want to buy, but at the same time it's kind of the last priority that you really want to invest in. I wouldn't recommend anybody try to get reforges out of that chest unless they already have, let's say, a 6-star Manta, a 6-star Raven, a 7-star Mr. Freeze, a maxed out League of Anarchy, maxed out Batman Ninja Team, and Deathstroke and Ben left unlocked. And in the category of people buying the chest, there are very, very few people, excluding myself actually. I have far more to progress in terms of my account before accessing reforges in that way. Though it is worth mentioning that since the introduction of the reforges, they have given some for more or less free now with the introduction of the Injustice Pass, but it's a very, very small amount. And the worst part of it, it's basically pay to win for pay to win. Like, how I would exemplify this is, for example, a game has a DLC. Do we all know what's a DLC? A DLC is something that gets released after a game has been released, and it's basically additional content, like an expansion to the game that you have to pay money to get. And then there are some games that release DLC to DLC, which is additional content that you have to own the previous additional content in order to play. That's what Artifact Reforges are, basically, because artifacts in Injustice Mobile are hard enough to get, with the good ones, like the Bait Club or the Sword of Sin, being straight up pay to win. And in that case, you're going to have to also buy reforges to max them out now. So let's take a hypothetical scenario. Let's say you want a maxed out Beta Club, level 10 good bonuses Beta Club. You're gonna have to spend between $100 and $500 to get the Beta Club in the first place, depending on your luck. Maybe drop 500 more to get it to level 10, and most likely 100 to 200 to get the desired bonuses. Bringing the total cost of having a maxed out pay to win artifact in, let's say, worst case scenario to $1,500. Bro, what the hell is this at this point? Like, it's not only something that the free-to-play players don't have access to, but it's something that's very, very not cost-efficient for the pay-to-win side of things. And something worth mentioning is that they did not balance the game with the addition of those artifacts in terms of they did not make the game harder to account for them. You could totally not access this system, you could totally never ever worry about the artifact bonuses, and your game experience would be just the same as previous to that update. But it's just frustrating that it's still a feature that has the potential of being very fun and entertaining that is not accessible almost at all. And there could be a very, very easy way to fix this actually, and it would be quite a balanced way, I would say, the way that I came up with. Let people shatter artifacts for reforges. So when you shatter an artifact, you're going to get a certain amount of artifact materials out of it for the specific type that artifact is. Make it so that Azure artifacts, since they drop the most often, are going to drop 1 brown reforge upon shattering, and make it so that the specific artifacts that you're going to get only if you're crazy lucky, and most likely you're gonna want to keep if you get one random, or you're going to get the same one over and over again at the end of the 5th tier. Make it so you can shatter that for a green reforge. So that way, while you're not going to give out a lot of reforges, it's still going to be a far, far better scenario than what we have now. Look, for example, you're going to get 4 brown reforges and 1 green reforge per heroic completed, granted you shatter all the artifacts. So, for example, if you finished all the way to Heroic 7, every single story that has been released so far, once, all the way to Heroic 7, including Heroic 7, you'd have gotten from that 192 brown reforges and 48 green reforges. And while that is not great, at the very least it's something that allows you to experiment with that system and then choose if you want to further engage with that system and maybe pay gems or real money to speed up the process, basically. And it's also kind of fixes the problem of getting terrible soul raid rewards, because you're going to be far less pissed when you get an Azure artifact knowing that you can shatter that and get 1 brown reforge. At the same time, you'd be far less pissed off when you don't get a legendary at the end of a heroic if you knew that at the very least you can shatter the artifact that you have gotten for a green reforge. Yeah, this is how I would fix it personally, and I'm quite sad that we don't get to experiment more with the system, because there would be some insane builds we could do and some very interesting things we could try. For example, something that I want to try, but I'm not willing to spend that much money to try that, is to see how good power generation is. And for example, to see how good Harbeck Harlequin with full power generation bonuses artifact will do. If I have a gameplay where I don't tag her out, will she have enough energy due to that power generation on the artifact to just spam specialty without having to put a Dr. Fate in there, or to tag her in and out? That would definitely be interesting to see. Will I go out of my way to do that? No, because it's not cost efficient in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, that's all I had for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Like it if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!
This is the future.